Okay, students, so let's gonna continue. So in this video, let's gonna add a method in the class student, because when I want you run your program, I want you print at the beginning of the description of the project. I want you print at the beginning all the objects in your array list. So as you see, student, first faculty, student, you're gonna print all the attributes. Okay, so it's gonna be a good idea that you create a method in the class student to print all the attributes like this with a format. So size for the columns, for faculty, student, course, rosters, and all the objects in your array list. And you see you have major as well, right? And you see you can format that. Remember when we use a string format? So this is what I did here. Let me show you. So in the method, in the class student, you are going to create a method print student. So in the class faculty, you're going to create a method print faculty. Of course, you can use inheritance, but I didn't cover inheritance yet, so I'm going to do that simple first. If you want to apply later inheritance polymorphism, it's okay. For now, let's going to do the project simple. So you have here the method print student. So remember, you are in the class, so you can call the attributes in your class, right? So you can print all the attribute that you want, but I asked you to print that with a special format, right? Just with some size for the columns. This is what I did here. So each attribute is going to be a size of 24 characters. Okay, just in case. So you can use a sprint format as we learned at the first or second week. Okay, and print the attributes. Okay, so you format, remember, you format your string and then you can print that. What I did is create a string variable to format the output, and then you can print whatever you formatted. Okay, this is the student, the print student. The same thing for the same method for the other classes. Okay. Okay, good. So now, now that you have that, let's go and implement the data reader. Okay. So let's go and implement the class DataReader. Remember, this class is gonna have the method store faculty, store student, store course roster, store department, store major, store schedule. So if you complete with me, I don't know if I want to implement store faculty or store student. I guess the store student is more complicated, so I'm gonna implement the store student. So if you complete a store student with me now, you're gonna be able to implement all the methods here. Okay, so let's gonna cover store student. As you see, you can repeat the recipe that I told you when you read the file, right? You have to give you extra help. Oops. What's happening here? Okay, so as you see in all the methods, let me go to the beginning. So in the store faculty, you're gonna have a void method, so it's not gonna return any value. Okay, similar the example that we did. Remember, employee application, the same thing, that we create the method store employee info, I guess so, and you receive an empty array. Okay, now it's similar, but the only thing that it changed is that now you have two parameters. One parameter is for the array list that you're going to receive, and another parameter for the name of the file that we're going to use. So in the application, in the project application that I call main project, you are going to call you're going to create an object from the class DataReader, and then you're going to call the method store faculty, and here you're going to pass an empty array list here to faculty, and you're going to pass the name of the file that you want to process. With that information, you're going to use the same variable that we use to process a file and create the while loop. See student, the same thing. You're going to have to receive an array of a student, right? And also the name of the file. The same variables, and start the while loop here. Okay, so in order to start the while loop is going to be really simple because we already covered that in the previous lab, right? What is the previous lab? Remember, you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to be, let me see if I can pull that. Let me stop sharing for a little bit. Let me share my screen. Mm. Okay. Sharing. Netbeans. Okay, I use it here. There is a video array list lab. Okay. Okay. In this video, I cover the same method. Okay, that we are learning now. Okay. If you didn't watch that, you will have to watch this video first. Okay, because I don't want to repeat things that I explained in the previous video. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to create the classes for your project. Okay, so now that we will need to do is create a while loop, right? While, right? We're gonna use this scanner to read line by line. Which file? Remember the student file? Correct, we're gonna read line by line with a while loop, save the line, correct, in which variable? In as input line, right? So input line, input file that has next, we're gonna position the first line of the file, correct? Now, if there is data, it's gonna return true. You're gonna get into the while loop, and then let's gonna capture this line. Let's gonna capture in our string variable. Okay, where is our string variable? S input line. So S input line equal whatever we capture with the scanner. Remember, use next line instead of next, because next, remember, you can have a white space and that's it. You're not going to capture the whole line. Okay, so now that you have the data here, which means that with the next line, you capture the whole first line in as input line, you can use the split method to split the data, right? Because this data you will need to use for the attributes. Right. Okay, so remember that we have to declare a string, right? Before apply the split method. So you can create the array here, but it's going to be limited by the curly braces. Again, we're not going to use later. So what best practice should be that you declare here, right? String array SA tokens, for example, equal null. And then you can use here SA tokens equal the result of the split method. Remember, as input line the complete line. So you can use dot split, and inside that parenthesis double quotation mark, you will have to specify what is the special character that is splitting that data. In our case, it's going to be the column. Okay. Now we have, for example, SA tokens index 0. We have now the data in SA token like this. Oops. There's SA tokens 1. SA tokens 2. The last name. SA tokens 3. We hold the street, and so on. Correct? This is the we have. Okay, I'm gonna clean that because when reading the file, I'm gonna get error. If I keep it. Okay. So this is that we have here. In SA tokens, we have the attribute now. Okay. What is next after doing that? You can create a new object, right? To use the data that you have in SA token. So how can we want to create a new object? So you're going to create a student object. So student. So you can do two things: create a reference variable here for the student, or just create here because it's going to be internally in the while loop. So it's going to be the same thing. Student is, for example, equal new student. Okay. You can use the default constructor here and then apply the setters, right? Set student ID, set first name, whatever, or you can specify here the data. Which data? The data that you have with SA tokens. Okay, so we'll check the class student. How is the constructor? Just in case I use long, you can use a string. Okay, I just go today with long just to play around with long. Okay, but use everything string. It's gonna be much easier for you. Okay, I just want to play with long data types. So what happened here? You can provide the data here for the overload constructor, right? Pass everything as a string here. So this one is going to be SA token 0, SA token 1, SA token 2, 3, 4, and so on. Or you can create an empty object and then use the setter. Up to you. Okay? I just want to let you know that you can use the default constructor or the overload constructor. Either way is going to be okay. The only thing that for the overload constructor, you would have to pass the data like this if you want to use that. Let me show you. SA tokens 0, SA tokens index 1, and so on after completing the complete parameter that you define in the overload constructor. Okay, we're gonna use the setter. Is that set the student ID. I have the student ID in SC tokens index 0. Is that set the student first name is in SA tokens 1. Is that set what's his name here is in SA tokens index 2, right? Typo. What else? Is that, let me see the attribute. Student first name, last name, street, city, state. Street, state, right? City, state, zip code. Set city, street, right? Street, city, should be state. Let's say tokens, index 5. Right. Then now, I guess we need zip code is set zip code. Okay. Okay, now we have a problem here. What happened? See the definition of a student. Zip code, we declare zip code as an integer, right? And what kind of data we have in the array SA tokens? In SA tokens, we have a string, right? So inside the SA token, you have the zip code with double quotation mark. So remember that we learned in the previous video, use the wrapper class, right? Integer dot parse int, right? And specify inside the parentheses the string that we want to convert to an integer. And then we fix it. Okay? We fix it for zip code. Then it's phone number. Remember, you use a string. I use long. Okay? Don't worry, use a string. So it's gonna be phone number. Make later. So you would need to fix anything here, right? Don't worry. In my case here, I'm gonna use long dot parse long, right? Remember, I use long. You use a string. Don't worry about long, okay? start sec name correct. And then check, double check always to see the order, right? Well, you can set in any order because you are using that default construct, but if you're using the overload constructor, they would have to match, right? Okay, I mean, you can set that in different order as long as you put the correct index of the array, correct? You know what I mean? Okay, so which attribute do you need to set up? You need to set up also the major ID and the expected graduation date. Perfect. Expected graduation date. SA tokens 9, almost there. 9. Okay, so we finished to create the while loop. Okay, now after creating this while loop, you are reading the file, the line, factor the line, split the data, create the object, and use the SA token array to set the data for your object. Now, what is next? We need to add the object to our list, right? Okay. See here. What is the reference variable for the list? In this method, it's going to be student list here. Dot add and the reference variable for your object. The reference variable for the student object in this while loop is yes. Correct. Good. And then when you finish the while loop, here close the file. Okay. How can we close the file? Scanner. Close. Okay, we're gonna close the file after using it. Okay. Okay. I guess we completed. Yes. Okay. As you see, you will have to do the same method, the same technique for faculty, for course roster, store department, store major, store schedule. A lot of work to do. Okay. Good. And now I'm gonna show you how to implement, how to call uh, the store student. Okay, good. Okay, before that, remember you will have to print the information that you have in your array list, right? Okay, so after completing that DataReader, you have in the array list the data. So now you can create another method, but inside the class data util. So when you call For example, print list, print student list. You are gonna print the complete list of students. When you call print faculty list, you're gonna print all the objects in your list. When you call print roster list, print schedule list, you're gonna print the data that you have in the array list. Remember, you already have everything in an array list after executing the store student, right? So we can create in the class data util the method to print the list of our objects. Okay, this is what we're gonna do in the next video. Thank you.